All right, so it's been a year, in more ways than one. It's been a year since my last video, and it has been a year in the sense of so many things have happened. So I'm sure that some of you, at least a few, have been wondering where the next video is and what's been going on. Well, we actually moved toward the middle of this last year into a house that we built and moved to a completely different state with two small children. So we've had quite a lot going on. We've had some some people ask for updates on how our propane was working. We actually did manage to get about 6 months or so, a little over, on the system, and everything was perfect. It was wonderful. Went through the winter with like an 8-inch snowfall at one point directly on the tanks. We actually, during that time, subscribed to HelloFresh, not a sponsor. And so we had meals that we were cooking continuously. The oven and the stovetop was in use pretty much every single day. Went through an entire Thanksgiving with multiple dishes being prepared throughout the entire day with the stove on, and it did way better than our expectations. The two 40-pound tanks that we had lasted us 6 months. And even then, that was standard tank fill. So that was from like 80% fill. It was a little bit over that because of the cold, down to like 15 or 20%. So the tanks were not fully empty, and that still was probably a little under 6 months of use. So they held up fantastic. No issues with the regulator freezing or anything. No issues with the lines, and the tank metering system, the wireless monitor, worked wonderfully. It was a little finicky to get set up at first, and once it was in, it was just great. Could check on our phone, could check on the little display beside the stove, see our propane levels, and never had an issue. We now are on natural gas, and it's nice to not necessarily have to worry about tanks and everything like that, but there's still something that I really like, having those tanks on hand and being self-sufficient with that, and not having to worry about supply or anything like that. Mind you, it would have to be a major natural disaster to cut off the natural gas supply. But still, it's nice knowing that you just have it on property and that you're not going to have an issue. We actually moved toward the coast, and so now we have to worry about hurricanes and tropical storms, and in addition to some winter weather. So we've got a few videos coming up that are going to be about a bunch of the different stuff that we've been doing. Over here, we've actually got two of our inverter generators. They are a fairly small inverter generator, but we've been using them with this Paralink from Champion, and it enables us to connect them in parallel. You can even connect more than two, just not with that unit. I think it's a custom-made unit that you have to use. And it's 120 volts only because of these generators. But we've gone through putting a power inlet on the house for backup, storing fuel. These are a dual fuel unit, so we actually can run these off of the propane cylinders like we ran the stove off of. And they will run forever on those propane cylinders. Not literally, of course. In addition to that, we We've had a lot of stuff being put in. We've been working on getting our transfer switch and all that that I've put in, and did a video about that that'll hopefully be coming up soon with the generators. And then we've got some other fun things. So buried in this pile on my workbench over here is actually a set of lithium iron phosphate batteries and all of the controllers and boxes and things for that. And so we are going to hopefully start working on a pretty cool battery project that is kind of a DIY battery bank, not like the big ones that power your house, but not the small ones either. More like some of the professional emergency backup in essentially like the flight case style. Enough that we could actually get 120 volts, 240 volts out of it that would power most anything we would want to. It takes quite a bit of batteries to do that, and there are some pretty cool things that I'm going to try and work on with it, like generator tie-in, to where you can actually run off of the generators, and then if you get something that suddenly needs a bit more energy, it can actually pull from the generators and from the batteries simultaneously to supplement your generator usage. And then when your power goes back down, your power consumption, the generators can then start recharging the batteries all automatically. So that may be a little bit of a while before we get that fully in, but we're going to be working on that. In addition to over here, we've actually got quite a few 100-watt solar panels. We're going to be playing around with these and a solar kit, essentially a Victron MPPT charge controller for the batteries, and integrating all of this into a pretty big power backup. As you can see, we've got temporary cord over here that's pretty good size for the generators and things, and I really want to cover all this. Since we've been doing it, I want to cover the solar and the batteries, in addition to just kind of the more immediate, more practical power backup of the generators and how we tie them into the house. So hopefully you guys will hang around with us and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up, in addition to just some of the things we've been doing around the property now. So stay tuned, like this video, subscribe, and I'd love to hear in the comments section if there's any videos that you'd like to see, any follow-ups on things that you'd like to see, or project ideas. We'd be happy to hear them. It's always great to have new content and to work on some fun things as soon as I dig out my workbench. It's getting there. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.